Schmidt was a nerdy student at his school. One day, he tried to ask a girl to the prom, but she turned him down. At the same time, there was another student named Jenko. Jenko was a popular guy, but he was very rebellious. He often got in trouble with teachers and received many warnings from the school. Eventually, both of them graduated. Years later, they met again when they both entered the police academy. Jenko, as a former popular student, excelled in physical training because of his athletic ability, but he was weak in academics. Schmidt, on the other hand, was smart but physically unfit. To balance their weaknesses, they decided to help each other so they could pass all the exams. After hard work and teamwork, both finally graduated and were officially appointed as police officers. One day, while on patrol together, Jenko and Schmidt saw a group of thugs smoking something suspicious. They approached and checked their belongings, discovering that one of the gang members was carrying meth. The gang immediately fled. Jenko and Schmidt split up to chase them. Jenko, with his strength, managed to catch the gang leader named Domingo, while Schmidt, who was less athletic, failed to catch anyone and even got hurt after being knocked down by one of the thugs. Despite that, both were happy because it was their first arrest. But at the police station, their superior told them that Domingo had to be released because they forgot to read him the Miranda rights during the arrest, making it legally invalid. However, since their performance was impressive, the chief recommended them to a special undercover division located at 21 Jump Street. When they arrived, they found that the division's headquarters was in an old church. Inside, they met several other undercover officers. Soon after, the head of the division, Captain Dixon, gave them a mission to go undercover as high school students at Sagan High School to uncover a drug dealer. A few days earlier, a student from that school had died from an overdose. The drug was known as HFS, short for Holy Thing S. The effects of HFS appeared in stages. It started with uncontrollable laughter, followed by extreme confidence, then wild and erratic behavior, and finally total collapse. Captain Dixon explained that HFS was only found circulating among students of Sagan High. Jenko and Schmidt were tasked with finding the supplier and stopping the spread before it reached other schools. He also warned them not to get expelled, or they'd lose their jobs as police officers. Their mission began. Jenko and Schmidt posed as brothers and stayed at Schmidt's house. Jenko, being confident from his high school popularity, believed he could blend in easily. Schmidt, however, was nervous about reliving his awkward school days. Once they arrived at school, they quickly noticed how much the culture had changed since their time. Suddenly, a student named Eric approached and introduced himself. Jenko saw it as an opportunity to act cool, but it ended with an argument between him and Eric's group. Jenko punched one of Eric's friends, thinking it would make him look tough, but it only made everyone stare in shock. They were called to the principal's office and warned that another incident would get them expelled. After that, they went to their separate classes. Jenko was assigned to chemistry, while Schmidt joined the drama class. In drama class, Schmidt met a beautiful girl named Molly, who happened to be Eric's friend. During a conversation, Molly mentioned the trending drug HFS and said she wanted to try it. She even gave Schmidt the dealer's phone number written on a classroom desk. Schmidt then contacted the dealer and arranged a meeting. During class, he texted Jenko to come along. They met the dealer at an agreed location, and to their surprise, it was Eric himself. Schmidt and Jenko pretended to be interested buyers. Eric agreed to sell them HFS, but only if they used it in front of him. They hesitated at first, but for the sake of the mission, they agreed and took the drug. Afterward, they rushed to the bathroom, trying to throw it up by making each other gag, but it didn't work. On their way back to class, they ran into Mr. Walters, a teacher. At that exact moment, the drug effects started. They began giggling uncontrollably and acting weird in front of him. Back in class, they became overly confident and chaotic, ruining their first day at school. The next day, Jenko went to his chemistry class. When he tried to enter, someone asked him for a password. Suspicious, Jenko forced his way in but found only a few nerdy students playing Bakugan. One of them, named Zach, was tinkering with a phone. Curious, Jenko asked what he was doing. Zach shyly explained that he was working on a hacking project. When Jenko asked if Zach could tap someone's phone, Zach admitted he could. This gave Jenko an idea. During lunch, Jenko suggested that Schmidt throw a house party and invite Eric and his gang, so they could install spyware on Eric's phone. Schmidt agreed. That night, he called Molly and told her about the party. Molly said she'd come and even promote it on social media. They started preparing for the party by sending Schmidt's parents on vacation, buying alcohol, and sneaking some confiscated drugs from the evidence room. That night, the party was wild. Everyone showed up, including Eric, Molly, and their friends. Zach and his team distracted Eric while Jenko stole his phone and went to another room to install the spyware. However, Eric said he was leaving soon to attend another party. Schmidt tried to stall him. Just then, a group of students from another school showed up, demanding that Eric sell them HFS. Eric refused, saying his supplier didn't allow him to sell outside Sagan High. The situation got tense. Schmidt stepped in to defend Eric, but one of the rival students punched him. A fight broke out. Hearing the noise, Jenko ran downstairs and joined the fight. In the end, Jenko and Schmidt won the brawl, and everyone at the party cheered for them. At that moment, Jenko quickly put Eric's phone back into his pocket. The party continued, wild and crazy, until Eric and his gang decided not to leave and brought the party to Schmidt's house. Things went wrong when Schmidt's parents came home because they had forgotten their phones. Seeing the chaos, they were furious and shut the party down. Eric was impressed by Schmidt and invited him to join his gang. Schmidt agreed, finally feeling like he could be one of the popular kids. The next day, Schmidt and Jenko lived their undercover lives like normal students. Schmidt hung out with Eric more often, even pretending to sell small amounts of drugs to gain trust. He grew closer to Molly, both in and out of class. Jenko spent most of his time with Zach and his friends, rarely going home with Schmidt. One day, Jenko intercepted audio from their wiretap revealing Eric would make a drug deal outside school. During class, Jenko saw Eric and a friend leaving campus. He picked up Schmidt, who was about to perform in a school play with Molly. Realizing the mission's importance, Schmidt left Molly behind. They followed Eric in the school's driver's ed car since their own vehicle had been ticketed. At the scene, they watched Eric hand a piñata to the gangsters they had previously arrested. To confirm the piñata contained drugs, they tailed the gangsters. At a traffic light, Jenko stopped, thinking they were too close, but Schmidt disagreed and moved closer. Their car hit one of the gangsters' motorcycles, forcing them to flee. A high-speed chase ensued. They caused chaos but eventually escaped. Back at school, Schmidt lashed out at Jenko for ruining the investigation and making him late for the play. Jenko reminded Schmidt not to get carried away with undercover life. Schmidt blamed Jenko's incompetence in the first arrest for the situation and stormed off. At the theater, Schmidt took over someone else's role. Jenko attacked him on stage. They fought until the principal expelled them both. News reached the department, and Captain Dixon dismissed them from 21 Jump Street and forbade them to work together again. Later, Schmidt saw Jenko packing. Eric appeared and asked them to guard a drug deal during prom because the supplier would be there. Jenko and Schmidt reconciled, deciding to finish the mission to earn their badges back. At prom, Schmidt saw Molly high on HFS and confessed he was a cop, asking her to leave. She didn't take him seriously. Eric brought them to meet the supplier in a private room. The supplier was Mr. Walters, the gym teacher. Buyers arrived, Domingo's gang. Schmidt tried to bluff about his face being familiar. Molly shouted that Schmidt was a cop, confirming Domingo's suspicions. A gunfight broke out. Eric was hit. Molly tripped on the drug. Domingo ordered his men to kill Schmidt and Jenko, but they turned on him, revealing themselves as undercover senior officers. Domingo killed them, and chaos continued. Schmidt and Jenko took cover as Walters fled with Molly, Eric, and the money. Domingo chased Walters. Jenko and Schmidt took down gang members in a highway chase. Out of bullets, Jenko made a bomb from liquor and batteries, blowing up Domingo's car. They caught up to Walters, who tried to use Molly as a shield. Jenko took a hit protecting Schmidt. Molly broke free, allowing Schmidt to shoot Walters in the groin. Walters was arrested, and backup arrived. Eric was also taken into custody. Schmidt apologized to Molly. She forgave him, and they kissed. Back at headquarters, the division cheered. Captain Dixon, proud of their performance, gave them a new undercover assignment, this time as college students, and with that the story ends here.